We are back live, according to Hip
What
Hop
up?
Live, on a Saturday night this time, man. What's going on, Coop?
What up, fam? What's good?
Man, nothing much, man. We're just getting everything cracking. And, last week, this is kind of a continuation show because we were talking about Flex's list last week of the
Right,
top 25 living MCs. And,
right.
as promised, we went ahead and gave it to the people. And we're going to do our top 25. So everybody come in the room. And this list, it's funny when I like the way that Flex actually did it. I'm gonna give Flex props for this, for the fact that when you put that living increment in there, it changes the whole list up. It really does. And so when we
I
were
mean,
go ahead.
no, it changes everything because I think most people have Biggie and Pac in their top 10 still. So there immediately opens up two spaces in the top 10 by making it living. And I think that's the biggest part of it. And I think you and I talk behind the scenes. I think in most people's top 25 for a long time have been Big L, Big Pun, and Prodigy too.
Right, right,
And
right.
so if you take those three and Big and Pac, that's five guys potentially in a lot of people's top 25 that you can't include on this list based on the criteria that was set. So
Right.
that was a very fascinating move. It like the list immediately looks differently when you take Big and Pac out and you're making your top 10.
Well, yeah, we're
And
gonna
so
go
like
to the list right now. Actually, let me put the list on the screen. We did actually three. I know it's gonna look real confusing. Drake Patton asked me whether I put Tribe in the top 10 groups. Man, I got Tribe at like number 3 or something. Man, they're one of my favorites. But anyway, so all right.
five.
So basically, the way we did it, I came with a list. So that's Mike D's top 25, and Coop came with a list, and then we came together. Kind of just, man, we talked on the phone for like what 2 hours, man. We were going back and
2 hours
forth
to be exact.
about our list, and the criteria is based on top 25 living MCs based on skill, body of work, and impact. And I already see people in the room saying no. What do you disagree with? Cool. Go ahead with
Yeah, hold on. So I want to say that I don't think people are really paying attention enough to the criteria. This isn't our criteria. We actually based it on Flex's criteria. So that's the first thing that needs to be stated. It's a living MC list. And so it's going to look immediately shaken up because it's a living MC list. Next of all, it only covers three areas. Like, Mike, when I'm doing like a greatest MC of all time thing, like I got like 10 criteria categories, okay? This one only has three. And so it's skills, body of work, and impact, correct?
right, right, right.
I mean, that part of what makes the list workable because it's what I like to call simple stupid, Mike. It's not that super in depth. Like, Mike, you know how I feel about like just the craft of MC. And if you just talk about the craft of MC, and Mike, I got five separate categories just under skills if I was doing this. And also, I know most people watch know I'm a big Nas fan, and I think Nas is the greatest MC of all time. But based on these three criteria, I agreed with you that Jay should be number one based on these three criteria. It's
Right.
not an in-depth analysis. It's an overall analysis. It's more of a macro than a micro.
I think the biggest thing for me, when you have lists like this, and I'm not gonna lie, man, I think body of work, holds a lot of weight because there's a lot of people with skills, a lot of people can really rhyme on a high level, supreme high level, who don't have that body of work. Only a few amount of people have that body of work, and so for me, I really, hold that very high. Impact is about timing. You know what I mean? And I think that people who came before certain people have more of an opportunity to be more impactful than people who have come maybe 10, 20 years after another person. But I think that
So,
body of work is held very high, and there was a lot of people who commented on this list. We put it out about 2 hours ago on According to Hip Hop, and people had a lot of discrepancies about DMX being number 22. I saw that. Obviously, Eminem not being on the list. I see people in the comment section already talking about that.
that was
So
heavy. I was actually happy to see that. He got a lot of support. That was
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I think that when we talk about body of work, though, I mean, how strong is Eminem's catalog when it comes to all the people that we see on this list? Does Eminem have a children's story, a Mona Lisa, The Show, talking about Slick Rick, obviously, and are like, Hey Young World. Does Eminem have those records that are staples in hip hop, like the people that are on this list?
I mean, I think that's kind of why we left them off the list, is because even though, and I've always said this, skill wise, he's there with anybody. This isn't a list about skills and only
Right.
skills. It's pretty much skills is getting weighed in a third. I mean, for me, and this is another thing, Mike, I told you, Mike, for me, impact is ever changing. So I'm not as big on impact until I see that the impact is a truly lasting one, a la a Rakim or a Tupac. That's when impact matters to me, you know?
Well, honestly, in the game in general.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
But what I was about to say is when you look at his impact, it's like, where is the actual real impact?
Where is
for
it?
him as an artist?
Yeah.
Like, what has he influenced in this culture that he's been in for over 2 decades now, that you can see the seed sown from it? And I don't mean MT he's put on.
Right.
I mean, like, where can you see it? Because one of the reasons that I had Raekwon at number 9, Mike, is because of Griselda. There's a direct line to the impact of the hip hop culture in New York today, and Raekwon specifically.
Right.
More so than any other New York rapper from his era, he's the guy that they look to because he's the one that's maintained that New York hip hop street sensibility, even on West Coast albums, down South albums, wherever. And so that matters. And I'm saying, where does M have that impact on the culture? And that's why I left him off of my top 25, because I don't think his body of work is stellar, even though he's done a lot of work.
Right.
I think he's made one classic album that you don't even think is a classic, which is the Marshall Mathers LP. He's made another stellar album in the Eminem Show. I think most of the stuff other than that is just okay. Skill-wise, he's there. He was one of those people that I had on the borderline. He was going to fall between 25 to 30, and that's where it ended up falling.
On an impact level, because let's go down this list, right? Jay-Z's impact is, that's obvious. Nas's impact, I mean, Illmatic just changed the way people rhyme. Rakim changed the way people rhyme off the gate. Scarface, he put, the South on the map as a solo MC and opened the door for many. Ghostface, one could argue that Eminem, well, you know what? You see Griselda's impact and all that street shit in Ghostface's, lingo and all of that. So, I mean, if we talk about the Purple Tape, then the influence that the Purple Tape had, I think supersedes any influence that we could say that Eminem has had musically on the game. Like you said, Eminem's influence is more so about putting people on.
Right. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to be honest with you, hasn't every other MC on this list put on his people, though? You know what I mean? That's not really an impact thing.
We're talking about music. Impact for real, to me, is when people you don't even know are inspired to go out there and do something based on that individual or that piece of work, and like you don't even know that these people are inspired by you. It just happens.
Yeah, osmosis lyrically.
Right. Obviously KRS-One's impact. We'll see Kendrick Lamar. What do you think? I think Kendrick Lamar's impact on this generation is huge. I think Kanye West's impact on this generation is huge. Obviously, Ice Cube's impact on the culture is huge. Black Thought.
Hey, can we stop 1 second? Like,
Go ahead.
Also when we made this list, people also need to know that without us talking to each other and creating this list separately, we picked 21 of the 25 MCs. Like, you and me had the 21 of the same MCs on this list, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Kanye was one of the MCs that I totally left off, though, Mike.
You left off J. Cole too. I put
did.
J. Cole at 25. People had a problem with that too.
Hold on, where do we start? Where do we go? Where do you want to
go? You know what? I think where we want to go first. Let's continue to address the Eminem thing, and exactly why Eminem isn't in the top 25. I think another one for me, as far as Eminem, and when we're talking about living MCs, like I said before we got online, when you put that term "living" in there, then it's about activity. and you factor in how active a person is, you can't really lean on the individuals who are no longer here and say, okay, well, that material is dormanted, it's cemented in hip hop history. I think that the last time the Eminem moved the needle was in 2002. And he's been extremely active since then. So with a list like this, people's stock rises and falls, right? And
Right.
and Eminem hasn't done anything since 2002 to rise his stock. And even in 2002, I don't know if he was even a top 20 all time.
No, I would think you would have to say that in 2002, 2003, Mike. Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, time is kinder to people than others. I mean, his skills haven't, like I said, Mike. Even on this last album, Mike. I mean, he can do things on the mic, like you like to say, technically sound rapping wise.
Right.
That I mean, the only person on this list that I know that can do it offhand the way he does it is Black Thought, or probably Method Man. Just multiple ability wise. So he's special in that regard. I mean, Mike, this is a list littered with special people.
Yeah. I just think that his body of work and his catalog really, for me, that's why I left him off. I had him at the tail end. I don't think that Eminem has records that are super important to hip hop in general. I mean, Snoop Dogg said himself, which started the whole...
Wouldn't Lose Yourself be the most important song? Not even the best, but wouldn't that be the song that most embodies hip hop culture that he made?
I think Lose Yourself is his
Rabbit
best
Run,
song.
Or Rabbit Run. Like Rabbit Run's on some rap shit.
I mean, listen, it's on some rap shit, and I ain't saying it ain't hip hop or whatever. I'm just saying, like, when
no, that's some rap shit. That's definitely, like, Rabbit Run is some hip hop. Like, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, when the DJ's spinning or whatever, they gonna throw on any of these records. Like, like a DJ would throw on Mind Playing Tricks on Me or something. You know what I'm saying?
Like, part of the reason why I was saying that, Mike, is that's the only time, and I mean, I was clubbing around that time. That was the only time I really heard him get some run in the Black Cub, was those two records.
Oh,
it didn't get a lot of burn, but it got burned.
Let's get to the people. Jay says, no G-Rap or Lupe. And for the people that saying Tupac and Big, this is a living list. They're no longer here. So we just included all the people who are, who are living. But yeah, what do you say to the whole no G-Rap and no Lupe fiasco on this list?
It's an objective list. I love Cool G-Rap. I looked at the criteria, and so body of work and impact has hurt G-Rap a little bit because his impact. How about this? It's kind of funny, Mike. In the mid 90s to early 2000s, I felt like maybe some of Slick Rick and KRS's impact had started to fade, and I felt like Kane and Cool G Raps had kind of like stepped up. But I also actually feel like over a course of time, the inverse has happened again, where Kane and Cool G Raps' impact has kind of descended a little bit, and also, too, Slick Rick's and KRS's over time has kind of picked back up, especially with Slick Rick. I mean, and so that was my thesis on it. I'm going to say the same thing, and I feel more this way about Cool G Rap than I do about Eminem. Oh, if we just talking skills, Mike, if we talking skills, he's in the top 5 to 7. If we just talking skills.
Yeah.
But the criteria isn't just skills, and also, too, there's something to be said for Kane and Cool G Rap. And here's what I mean where the impact is changing. Right. They both got surpassed by their predecessors. That's in Nas true. And in Jay and in Big. And so their predecessors literally becoming the MCs that they became kind of has hurt them, too. And people need to understand that. Because what has kind of hurt Cool G Rap, Kane, is that I got Nas, I got Shay. I don't even listen to them.
Yeah, they came in almost with like new and improved versions. And that's no disrespect. And I think that a lot of that is just the industry and how things just open up. Because a lot of the times when people break down barriers and set the foundation, they don't really get to reap all the benefits of that foundation that they set. I mean, even if we're talking about somebody like a Melly Mel or Grandmaster Caz, like the foundation that they set for Rakim and KRS, they didn't even get the benefit from that either.
Okay, Mike, specifically, I actually had G-Rap 26 on my list. It goes G-Rap, Most Def, J. Cole, Royce the 5'9", the Jizza, Q-Tip. That's like right outside my top 25. So Coogee, I got Kane and G-Rap right there. I got Kane's impact being higher because of the live show and the fact that Kane is still out there doing live shows that are amazing. There's something impactful about that.
Yeah, Kane is performing on a high level.
Can I give Kane a little bit of flowers? Because here is what I think about Kane. I actually feel like Kane came out too soon. I feel like if Kane comes out in the early to mid 90s, he's actually bigger and more of a sex symbol.
I think that, and we talked about this offline. I think that Kane, Cube to a certain degree, I think that their stock kind of dropped just based on some of that material that they do have that's in their catalog, in their discography rather, that kind of just isn't up to snuff. You know what I mean? And
Kane's problem is the number of output. I think he probably has the least amount of output of everybody on this list. That's part of the reason why he's at the back end of it too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of impact, and I think the biggest person as far as impact goes, one of the most impactful people.
This is why I don't like Impact that much too, Mike, too. This is why I don't like Impact that much, because somebody like Kane that when I was in high school was like easily top 5, it's now like somewhere between 25 because of how the criteria is weighing it. That's why I kind of try to keep my list as skill-based as possible, which is why Nas usually comes out like the top of the list. I usually just try to keep it to like the criteria of what MCing is and what the body of work looks like. I try not to do that impact stuff.
Rob says that KRS is his number one, and at some point, KRS was everybody's number one. When exactly did that change, Coop? Because I know we were talking about that offline. We ended up having KRS at 10 because his Boogie Down production, catalog is incredible, and he was one of the people from the '80s that was able to keep it going. But the impact was kind of dwindling in that sense. I think people just passed KRS. Honestly, it's just my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. So, what happened specifically? And Rakim has kind of been the one that has stood the testament of it. But specifically, what happens, guys like Kool G Rap, Kane, and Slick Rick, and those guys, like Mike, Tupac, Big, Nas, and Jay happened. That's what happened.
And these guys, and people have to look.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, and people have to look at this objectively. Like, these guys weren't old. Not to interrupt you. No. These guys were in their late 20s and early 30s. And the young guys came and superseded you in that sense. And, obviously it could be industry stuff, whatever. But you see a Jay, a Nas, or whoever now in their 30s, they weren't getting jumped over by 20-year-olds.
There's a couple things with that. First of all, like Mike, if you just in 1995, Mike, 25 years ago, if you were to name a top 5, your top 5 MC list, it would go Rakim, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, Kool G Rap, LL Cool J, Ice Cube, Scarface, probably. Like, not, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not Face yet, but it would go something like that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, it would go something like that. People need to understand how great like Jay, Nas, and Big Pac are. Like, they move these guys. And those aren't regular easy guys to move. But also too, Mike, and here's where it is. Their song making ability proved to be better, and skill wise, they were right there or past those guys at some point. That's what happened.
I think the game just evolved.
Mike, Kool G Rap is nothing of the song maker that Big is. And a better lyricist. He's a better lyricist, but he can't make a song like Big.
Yeah.
I love G-Rap.
G-Rap couldn't, listen, let's just be perfectly honest. Like, G-Rap couldn't make One More Chance, Big Papa, Juicy.
Mike, Kendrick can't make that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Big was special. And, and speaking of special, I know we got Slick Rick on here, and I think that the fact that his catalog isn't, like, huge, but I think that arguably, because we got Slick Rick at 23. I think arguably, man, Slick Rick's impact, it's up there with the best of them, man, because people even when Slick Rick was coming back out, people were grabbing Slick Rick to get the Slick Rick sound. Like, that was the thing. Like, even to this day, like, people will go in the Ghostfaces of the world, the Q-Tips of the world, Snoop Dogg, like, they are Slick Rick.
Mike, You know how I got a picture of Big hanging in my house behind me? Nas got a picture of Slick Rick hanging in his. You feel me?
Right.
Right.
And
Who
Nas is.
Slick Rick is to a lot of guys.
You said something the other
also,
day too, like when you were talking about in 2001 when the Blueprint and Stillmatic came out. I mean, you got Jay with Slick Rick on the Girls hook, and then you got Nas mimicking Slick Rick on Destroy and Rebuild. That's impact, man.
Mike, that's heavy, Mike. Hold on, that was in the midst of their battle, and they both drew inspiration from the same guy. The Blueprint starts off with a Slick Rick remake.
Yeah, the rule is back. Yes, no, you're right.
Back.
Lucas has a good point.
Remake.
Lucas has a good point that I did say I wanted to talk about. I saw it in the chat. He said, "What about the game? He carried the West Coast and was left for dead." I think that we overlook the game's catalog. I know we talk about Rick Ross's catalog and how great that catalog looks, but there's not a lot of people who have a catalog like the game. And I think that he has a better catalog than some of the people that are on this list, i.e. T.I.
Mike, I think he might have a better catalog than a lot of the legends on this list. Like, he has a better catalog than Snoop, actually. He has a better catalog than DMX, better catalog than Slick Rick, Method Man, Big Daddy Kane, Black Thought, Ice Cube. Yeah, for sure.
So Raekwon, what do you think about?
He probably has a better catalog overall than Ray. He's not the MC that almost 20. I mean, and he's great. Game is actually, my Game is one of my personal favorites. But this is one of those things where it's like, okay, so skills. Who's he better than on this list?
Skill-wise, Mike, I would say
Mike, you see how long it took you? You like, hold on.
No. I pulled up the list. That's why I did that. I think skill-wise, I think he can rap. But
right.
I would say T.I. It would be T.I. or Wayne, right?
Right.
Something like that, and I think that's debatable.
Exactly. And
I think his impact isn't as high as I don't think
he's a better rapper than Tip.
I don't think he's a better rapper than T.I. I think T.I.'s a natural, honestly. I think Game got better. Josh Watson said Game is better than Conway. What do you think about maybe the fact that we got Conway on there and we don't have Game on there? I mean, should those be swapped out?
Okay. No.
Okay.
No.
I think that the year that Conway is having right now, and I mean, I know you probably got your reasons too, but one thing that we'll say about Game really doesn't do a lot of features. And Game's projects are feature heavy. So we've seen Conway go out there, jump on Juicy J records. We've seen him jump out there on Murder Beats records, and he's all over the place. And he's been able to keep his consistency too. So I think the versatility, he's been able to beat Game in that category and still have a very deep catalog. So that's why I would kind of put Conway over Game, and I think he can do certain things that Game doesn't do on records, but it's close. It's not a wash.
No, Mike, I don't think people understand how much I think people don't understand how much material Conway has put out.
Right.
Like, I mean, I really don't think people understand. Like, Conway's done more material than most of the guys on this list in 5 years.
Yeah.
Going on 6. In 6 years, he's done more work than most of the guys on this list already.
I think a lot of people just see from a king to a god. And
right. I mean, that's what I'm saying, Mike. That's why I keep bringing up The Cow. The Cow is from 2016. That might be his best verse. He wrote that in 2016. Devil's Reject 2 is from 2015. Like that shit that he spits where he said before Reject 2, New York rappers was rapping like Designer. That's a fact. That's impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Jock J.
He got the bars.
I saw somebody up here because the chat's going crazy, and we're going to get to all of y'all comments, man, for real. I'm just scrolling up and down. That's why I keep looking down, too.
And he did it without the help that Game had, even though I love Game. You're right, Mike. Ain't nobody really helping Conway like that.
Yeah.
The only time you hear somebody stand next to Conway, it's usually Benny.
I love the Game's catalog. I think the Game is overlooked, but the same thing I feel about, your Raekwon, we'll talk about that in a minute. I think Game has a whole lot of help that other people just don't have. And, good music is good music, and I love the fact that he puts out quality material, but I would give Conway a leg up on him because he doesn't have that level of help that the Game has as an individual.
Mike, he's inherently a better lyricist, though, Mike.
Yeah, he is. And while we're talking about help and standing as an individual, people keep talking about Andre not being on here. If you could send me a song where Andre has 3 verses by himself and a hook in his 27-year career, we might consider if he should even be qualifiable for a list of, where it's nothing but solo artists on this list who have solo albums. He doesn't even have a song or 2 with just him in 3 verses. What? It gets tiring, man.
So I'm gonna tell the people in a nice way. Andre did not make this list because actually, technically, he doesn't fit the criteria because this criteria is body of work, and he doesn't have any solo album material to speak of for us to qualify him. And me and Mike set our own precedent with our list that it was a 2 album buy-in to get in, which means you had to have at least made 2 albums to be considered one of the greatest MCs of all time, because most of the people on this list, Mike, have made at least 2 classic albums.
Tyrone Meadows says, bruh, y'all niggas is hating on the South so bad. What did the South do to y'all? I'm from the South. I'm from Atlanta. I'm just getting objective.
Can I go ahead and address that right now? You're not going to find any list from any other hip-hop publication right now that got Scarface at number 4. So, miss me with that. Yeah, Flex just did a top 50 list and didn't even have Face on there. What are you talking about, fam? I get so tired of dudes saying this.
He said, so where's Rick Ross? And you know what? Not to interrupt you. You fought for Rick Ross to be here. You were saying.
I did. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I fought for Rose to be on this list. Get out of here. Don't... Let's look at this top 10 list, Mike.
Tyrone, who else do you think should be on there? Tyrone Meadows Jr. Who else you think should be on here? Rick Ross is fair, but I think that on a skill level and impact level, I don't know if you think that Rick Ross can out-rap Pusha T.
Mike, no, he can't.
And Pusha T's technically from the South. I know that geographically people don't want to say that Virginia's the South, but it is.
Trust me, Mike. I've been to Virginia. It's got that Southern racism to it, not the Northern racism to it. It's a Southern state. Yeah. Mike, even our top 10 list. First of all, people need to understand something when they're saying that we're biased. Hip hop got started in New York, so there are going to be some things about hip hop that are going to be inherently biased in terms of how it was fundamentally formalized because it came from New York. But if you actually look at our top 10 list, we got 2 guys from the West Coast on this list, a guy from Philly, a guy from Chicago, and a guy from Houston, Texas. Show me another top 50 list that's that diverse in their top 10.
Well, now somebody just spoke about Kanye being over Cube. Now, I understand that Kanye... told you I had a problem. And let's talk about Kanye. Let's talk about Kanye real quick because I'm the one that pushed for Kanye. This is the whole story. When we were talking about what the criteria was, it was skill, body of work, and impact. And I'm sitting here looking at this thing, and I'm like, damn, man, Kanye, if we were ranking this from 1 to 10, each of those things, Kanye is a 10 in that impact and body of work area. And it's hard.
10 on a body of work?
What's that?
I don't have anybody at a 10 on a body of work.
How many people can say that they got 4 albums better than The College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
I think the people that can say that we put ahead of him.
But he did it over different spans. I mean, it's just what his impact.
You answered. I'm just saying, you asked, who? I'm like Ghostface, Scarface. Nas,
I don't think you know me, and anybody who watches the show knows that Ghostface is my favorite rapper. I love Ghostface to death. I don't think Ghostface has 4 albums better than those 4. I can't say that. Supreme Clientele is one of my favorites.
Everybody else. I'm not big on Graduation like everybody else is, and so maybe that's why I feel that way. Maybe that is my 4th of his 4 great albums, and Mike, I never listened to Graduation outside of Flashing Lights, truthfully.
And you know what? Somebody brought up pen game, right? I think that whole notion that Kanye ain't got no pen, I think is overblown. I mean, when you listen to Kanye's music, it sounds like the Kanye that you hear talking on TMZ. Who's writing this stuff? If
For
it's
better
not
or worse.
him, there's not an artist out there. And we talked about this too. That's more personable than Kanye. As personal as his records are, who's writing this stuff for him?
I would agree with that sentiment.
Who
with you
wrote
on
through
that,
the
Mike.
wire for this nigga? He got in the car crash. He had his mouth wired shut. Who wrote that
I was
for
about to
him?
say, Mike.
Really?
Mike, I remember when we were having this conversation yesterday and I was actually pulling into my house, I remember telling you that The College Dropout is the most relatable hip-hop album ever made.
And everybody, I mean, you know, I don't know how.
And Mike, that's why you got me to convince him to put him in. But even when you said that, Mike, I told you I don't think he's top 10 still. But
I mean, listen, this is the thing.
Based
like,
on this funky-ass criteria.
Everybody was on some gangster shit back then. Who is writing Jesus Walks for this nigga for real? Like, who's writing? They don't care what people. We don't care what people say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who's writing this?
Look, because Mike, because Inside Baseline in 2001, Bleak, Siegel, The Young Guns, Freeway, and Ho.
He even put them guys on songs with him, and he still wasn't rapping like them or about what they were rapping about. So you know, people got to stop that. But and even like someone said on here, Graduation. Who can't tell me nothing is Kanye. Like you said, Gold Digger, that is Kanye. When you listen to these songs, it tells you everything you need to know about the individual. All Falls Down tells you everything you need to know about the individual.
No.
So I don't want to act like his pen or his skill level is much lower than what people are making it seem like.
No, it's not like that. He showed out before too. Like he got skills, he got verifiable skills. But here's you, Mike. You want to know how, like in sports, they have what's called like the eye test,
right?
And it's like if you just see it, you just kind of like know. I will tell you this as a hip hop fan right now, and I understand the reason and the rationale. And this isn't our opinions. We did this objectively as possible. There's something that just feels wrong about having Kanye as an MC ahead of Ice Cube, ahead of Black Thought, ahead of KRS-One. There is something about it that feels wrong, Mike. So, like, the people that are feeling that way about Kanye being too high, they are right, because your eye test, or I guess your ear test in this sense is kind of telling you, yeah, but Kanye ain't fucking with Chris. Chris will destroy Kanye. And
we're
Chris
talking
got a
about
catalog.
skill,
and
but
Chris
you know what?
No, Mike, and listen, let me finish, though. KRS got catalog and impact too. So it's like for cats to feel that way. No, that's valid. And that's why I didn't want Kanye in the top 10, because
let me ask
something
you.
about it feel wrong still. Like Mike, it's like that girl that you used to date that she checked all the boxes, but you still didn't love her ass because really all she did was check all the boxes.
Well, let me ask you this, Tupac fan. Why doesn't that qualify when it comes to Tupac? Because he's not the best rapper out there.
Hey, Mike, if we're talking about pen game, Kanye's pen game actually might be a little tighter than Pac's, actually. Mike, Pac is a force of nature like we have never seen in this business and will not see again. There is literally something about him, his voice, when he speaks, the depths that he speaks from. And even how about this? Even though Kanye is personable and speaks from his soul, nobody has spoken from the depths of their soul consistently the way Pac has, except for maybe Face. I don't even put Ye up in that strategy.
I understand, and you're completely right. And I think that, you know, we give that to him in that sense when we don't even start talking about skill set and all that when it comes to Pac. You're right.
Like,
when you look at this list, though, when you look at this list,
Pac is the only guy. Pac is the only guy that the depth of what he said from his soul transcended the fact that he really wasn't inherently that great of an MC or lyricist. It's that serious.
And that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
He's not really super nice.
That's all I'm saying. It's not even, I mean, and I'm not dumping on Pac or anything, but I think that, you know, when you talk about the story that Kanye is able to translate through his rhymes and his music, with that lack of skill level, that's a skill in itself. Who else can say, dark-skinned friend look like Michael Jackson, light-skinned friend look like Michael Jackson. You think Jay or Nas could get away with lines like that? That's
Never,
a skill. The fact that he's able to even do that.
And it still don't. No, Mike.
He's witty
I
as fuck on the mic.
No, Mike,
That's a skill.
I agree with everything that you're saying, Mike. I agree with everything that you're saying. It's just checking the boxes, though. There's something about it that still don't feel right. That's why he didn't even make my list, because I told you it was going to be problematic to qualify him and to quantify him. And here we go.
This is the comment in the comment section I've been waiting for. Ronnie Bug said, "Where is Drake?" Well, Ronnie, you think that Drake can out-rap Kanye West? You think Drake has a Through the Wire in his catalog?
I want to let you know Mike was waiting for you. Whoever you are that popped up, Mike was talking about you before the show.
Right,
waiting for you to pop up.
Does Drake have a Through the Wire in his catalog? Does Drake have a Can't Tell Me Nothing in his catalog? And we got reference tracks on Drake. We got reference tracks on Drake. Send me a reference Kanye track, man. And really, and while we talking about Jigga and all this stuff, Jay's great. But Lucifer, I gotta get my soul right. Y'all don't think Mr. West helped with that? Get out of here, man. I feel it. Niggas don't like Kanye, but we have to be objective here.
The thing where people who are Drake fans that bring Drake into Kanye's realm have to understand that Kanye has made, Mike, he's made at least 3 classics, right? Arguably 4. Yeah, so Drake's out of that conversation.
4. And you know what? And I'm like you, I don't really like graduation like that, but I'm not really a huge graduation fan like that, but I've seen what people have said over the years. Graduation is that turning point. When 50 dropped Curtis and 50 was on top of the game and Kanye dropped Graduation, he outsold 50 in that sense and made a better album, the game changed. It opened the door for the Coles, the Kendricks, the Drakes, the ASAPs. And it let people know that, you know what, this gangster shit is dead on a mainstream level. That album's important. 808s and Heartbreaks is even important. If you want to talk this Drake shit, I'm not a fan of that album either. No, hear me out. Not a fan of that album either. But when you listen to 808s and Heartbreaks, is that not so far gone? Did Drake not just step on those stairs of that album and create a career out of it?
No, Mike, and
that's impact.
Unfortunately, this is that, and that. Hold on, Mike. Moments like that are why I don't love Impact, because it's like. So, Mike, can we go to Jay real quick at number 1? I put Jay above Nas on this list on the criteria, mostly based on the fact that his impact on the game has been greater than Nas's. But I don't think it's been better than Nas's, because Jay set a lot of standards and trends that other cats couldn't follow up to or keep up with, because they're not as good as him.
Yeah, I agree. He picked up where Big left off, because Big was doing the same thing. Big was setting trends that weren't really all the way great, but he could do it seamlessly.
Oh, you mean impact-wise?
Yeah, impact-wise.
Yes.
Because he had, a lot of people will tell you it was written as the way it is because of the success of Ready to Die.
Mike, so Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Jay and Nas tried to make the albums that they wanted, and then after they didn't, they started doing what Big was doing.
Yeah.
It was okay, I went gold, Big went multi-platinum, and we're over here.
Well, since we're talking about New York, and I know they say we talk about New York a lot, let's talk about DMX being at 22 and why that is
Mike,
what it is.
People do understand that New York is the birthplace of hip hop. It's going to get discussed. We have to stop acting like, okay, go ahead.
No, the bottom line is though, for real, all jokes aside, if we be honest, there's just a whole lot of artists who have come out of New York and who have had long, illustrious careers, more so than any other region. It's just what it is.
I'm saying it's the birthplace, because when something is the birthplace of something, what you immediately have is access to the pipeline before everybody else does, and that's what I'm trying to express.
And not only
avoiding that.
Not only that, Coop, it's by far the most populated city in the nation. So just by sheer numbers, they're probably going to have more MCs anyway. So it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
And that whole
that's what that.
birthplace of hip hop thing kind of matters, Mike. It kind of matters that hip hop started there. I just want to let everybody know the thing for bias.
Of course.
Hip hop started in New York. It kind of matters. Okay, we can
But
go.
you know what? And I'll say this and I'll get off of it. But I even say when it comes to DJs, right? Q-Tip and the show that he had, like you could tell that DJs that grew up in New York and grew up outside in the park jams in a certain era that were hearing records that weren't on the radio, weren't on TV, they have an advantage musically over people who are from other places. They just been exposed to more. And it's just the same thing. I mean, it's no bias or anything. They have an advantage from location and being there when the birth of hip hop was there. It's closer to them. It's what it is. It's culture. It's what it is. We got it secondhand. Let's just be real. Like, we got it secondhand. And we did great with it secondhand. They got it firsthand.
So did the West Coast, and so did the Midwest.
Yeah.
Everybody's done great with it. Yeah. Pass the ball around.
Yeah.
All that.
They've done great with it secondhand, but New York has an advantage because it's right there in the root. It's in their veins. They were there.
It's never changing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what folks run it. Where it started never changes.
All right. DMX being at 22, man. You know what? For sure.
I didn't know that was going to cause a problem. I was surprised that people wanted him higher. I love X.
I love X too. I just think that, X kind of has a Snoop Doggy Dogg problem where it's like his debut album was just so hard. And he came with his second best effort in that same calendar year. And everything after that was just decline. And that's hard to put other people like a Raekwon, like a Jadakiss, who've been consistent over a 25-year period and who is still here coming with bangers. It's really hard to put him above them if we're talking about living. Like, because again, this is about activity and, still working. And while I'm saying that, Rakim being at number 3, he just dropped the verse of the year last year on Busta Rhymes shit, and he came out in 87. So he's solidifying his spot. When's the last time y'all heard a DMX record where y'all was like, yo, that's that shit? And that's no disrespect. That's just what we put into consideration here. You there, Coop? I think you froze. But, yeah, that's what we put into consideration on that. Are you there?
I'm there now.
Oh, okay.
Out for a second.
Okay, yeah, you timed out for a second. So, yeah, I mean, is that accurate? I mean...
Finish your last thought. I didn't hear that last thought.
Oh, the last thought was basically, we basically... I don't think it was fair for us to put DMX ahead of other people who are continuously putting out quality work when he's been declining over a certain time period, and people can't really tell you what's the last DMX record where you was like, that's that shit. And
no, Mike, all that. That's why he's at 22, Mike, mostly because of the impact that he had in about a 2 or 3 year period. One all-time epic classic.
One of the best debuts ever in hip hop, especially when you factor in the timing.
Mike.
Yeah.
It's one of the 20 best rap albums ever. I mean, the impact is serious. Mike, I told you, he don't want to make everybody take off them goddamn shiny suits, really. He really don't want to make everybody look like a fool in them shiny suits because he's sitting over here with his shirt off and some Timbs on selling 4 or 5 million records. Right.
I mean, let's look at this, man. All right. Well, we do have Conway ahead of DMX. Please address that.
He's a better MC, and he's got a classic under his belt, too, and he's got more material, and he's been active for a greater period longer. Like, Conway's been great for 6 straight years. DMX was great for about 3 years.
You think Conway's a greater MC than X?
Yeah, Mike. I told you, Mike, Conway's pen game is... Yeah.
I would say Conway is a better lyricist than X, of course. But you know what? When X was able to do How's It Going Down, that's impressive because he came out the gate on some Get At Me Dog, Rough Riders Anthem, and then he comes with this, I'm politicking with this chick and wondering if I'm going to meet her. If I'm going to get her, little hood rat chick from 25th, Nate to Meek. That's impressive. That was a total flip.
Mike, but what if I told you that Conway actually has more grimier records than X and better grimier records than X, because that would be true if you would go check his catalog, and that's why he's ahead of X. He's a better lyricist. He's got a better catalog. He's actually got a grimier catalog. How many dudes can say they got a grimier catalog than X? Conway can. Put him right ahead of X for a reason. Ooh. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Conway, I mean, how about this? From a King to a God is not It's Dark and Hell is Hot. And I think that From a King to a God is a classic. But It's Dark and Hell is Hot does not put X over Conway. Not if you go and actually listen to Conway's material. Go listen to the back tape. Go listen to Everybody Is Food. Go listen to Reject 2. Go listen to all his verses last year. Like, X is not better than Conway at this point. And Conway's actually had a better run for longer of MCing. He may not be moving the unit. Like, he got...
Well, the game's different now. The game's different.
How about this? What I'm saying is he got X on 2 of the 3, which is body of the work and skills. X got him on Impact 21, 22.
Let me tell you this. I think hypothetically, if what Conway's doing right now was measured in what people were doing in that era, and we switched places or whatnot, Conway would be moving units. I mean, it's just what it is. And the only reason why those numbers or whatever don't match up is because of just how the industry's just changed.
I mean, hold on, Mike. All jokes aside, name one song DMX got lyrically that's fucking with Jesus Crisis or Conway's verse on The Cap.
A lot of people in the chat are saying that we tripping, X is better. I do want to know, what is X's best verse? What do y'all think DMX's best verse is? Like, if we just go straight verse, I think, I would say off the top of my head, Niggas Done Started Something. That would probably be the first one that comes to mind for me.
I don't know if it's his best verse, but his most impressive performance to me is Stop Being Greedy.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. That's my favorite X song. The other song I was going to say was going to be Murdergram with Jay and Ja Rule.
Jay and Ja, yeah.
Yeah.
The Murdergram was hard, Mike.
He murdered that shit. Kevin says Slippin'.
I'm with Slippin'. I was thinking The Omen, too. The Omen was pretty, yeah.
I love,
Mike,
Damien, too.
Mike, listen to what I'm saying.
X is super skilled.
Mike, and he's super skilled. Mike, do you think any of those verses is better than that riff Conway just had on Jesus Crisis?
I don't know. It's a different thing, man, because it's kind of like what
niggas keep blocking my goals. I'm going to make it messy.
No, lyrically, like I said,
Mike, his delivery was there. That's why I was saying, like he was doing shit that great MCs do. Like, you got to know his catalog to know that when he starts off, I'm in my devil's reject bag, you got to rebuke me. Like, you got to been checking for me from the jump to know what I'm doing. You dudes that's talking haven't been really checking his whole catalog. So y'all are looking at X's 2 great albums and looking at Conway's 1 great album. And it's like, really, you don't know Conway got 1 great album, but he got about 6 or 7 other really dope projects.
I think on a quality level, right? On a quality level, I guess we would say that Conway does have a better body of work, rather. Excuse me. Jock Jake says that we're talking about a 20-year difference. I hear that. But at the same time, what is the last DMX record? What is the last DMX record y'all were rocking to? Please tell me. It's 2021.
I know the record. Who We Be. Who We Be was the last record.
What was that, 2002?
2002, 2003.
All right. Well, I think that says enough. We're not going to beat a dead horse on that. We got Kendrick Lamar number 8. Do you think we have Kendrick too high? What do y'all think in the room? Do y'all think Kendrick is a top 10 MC? I mean, we've talked about that somewhat before, and it is problematic when his name is in there with such people that have been in the game so much longer than him. Do you think we have Kendrick too high?
No, I mean, Mike, I think he's actually rated properly at this point. I wrote an article 4 years ago putting him in my top 10 on the back end. He's on the back end of the top 10 of this list. And he hadn't made anything since then. So, right?
We kind of touched on this earlier when someone brought up Game.
Last left is that 4 years ago in the back end of the top 10. Yeah, he belongs there.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this, man. I mean, because we talked about this, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. What do you think Kendrick Lamar's impact is like? Because obviously his body of work is critically acclaimed from effort to effort. His skill level as an MC is pretty high. What do you think his impact is like? Do you think
I think
he's
his
really
impact is
impactful?
actually what hurts. Mike, his impact is actually what hurts him when you put him next to these other guys. Like, I'm looking at the guy right ahead of him at number 7, and that guy is ahead of him because of the impact. Because Kendrick actually has a better body of work and is the more skilled MC technically.
You think he
But
has a better body of work than Ice Cube?
at this point, yeah, I mean, yes.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
hold on, how about this? Because Kendrick's third best project is probably going to be Section 80 or Damn.
I think that's the trend.
Cube's third best project is The Predator. Cube don't got nothing for Kendrick's fourth project, really.
And you know what? Looking at this list too, and it's interesting, man. I think that the theme that we have here in hip hop, outside of people who are in that top 5, 6ish, after the third effort, there's a decline, album wise.
Running back status for MCs mostly, Mike, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and so anybody who has more than 3 incredible, critically acclaimed albums, they get jumped up.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike, I said that's why I was trying to explain last week. Writing a good rap song is one of the hardest things to do in the craft of music. It's really hard to craft a dope rap song, to make a dope rap album. You see very few guys have 4 dope projects under their belt. I mean, Kendrick and Kanye are probably the only guys who haven't been around for at least 20 years that can say that. And I think Ye's coming up on 20 years.
Well, KJ Finesse says, man, impact for y'all because Kendrick had my whole high school experience lit. And plenty of people my age can vouch. Y'all just old. That could be the thing, too.
No, you want to know? Hold on. I want to say something like, I was actually downtown the night Kendrick came down here and performed, and this is before Good Kid, Mad City came out.
Right.
And I mean, Mike, I pretty much told my boss, it's like, one way or another, I'm going to see Kendrick tonight, so you can let me go, or you can, So no, I feel the vibe, and I was a younger man once, when Kendrick was actually first coming out. I was actually still in my 20s when Kendrick first came out. And so, no, I felt the vibe and I felt the wave. And this is what I try to get cats to understand sometimes. Sometimes y'all got to do a better job of really listening to the cats that came before you that witnessed what you saw and then witnessed what they saw. Like, Mike, when people from 10 years older than me, like when I talk to my New York people that I know that talk to me about some rap shit, and I tell them Nas is the best and they tell me Rakim, and then they go in and they break down why. They were there.
Well, I always feel like it's generational. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to
that's what I'm saying. So it is generational, but there's also a respect and a deference. And it's like, I've been saying this for a long time. Mike, you were there. Kendrick's buzz wasn't like Nas and Snoop's buzz was before he came out. For as epic as the buzz was, I lived through both of the buzzes. I'm not trying to discount his buzz. I'm saying I remember Snoop buzz and Nas's buzz. Kendrick's buzz wasn't as big, so I'm not hating. I'm weighing it as easily as I can. I'm one of the people that heard Good Kid, Mad City for the first time. I'm like, that's a fucking classic. That's the West Coast version of Illmatic.
This is the thing, and you know what? And I'm not saying that Kendrick's not impactful because obviously, you don't move those kind of units and move the needle in the way that he has if you're not impactful. We just haven't seen his, the people who come from his lineage yet. I mean, we got that one guy out in the West Coast that sounds very similar to Kendrick. Yeah. But for the most
he's
part,
connected to the camp too, though, isn't he, Mike? Isn't he connected to the camp too?
I don't think he is. He won that show that Cardi B, T.I., and Chance the Rapper were hosting. His name slips me at this moment, and he's nominated for a Grammy. He's dope. You know what I mean? And, you could tell that he is probably very Kendrick influenced, but when you talk about impact, we're talking about, and I know people are going to take this the wrong way, but I'm just saying this because of, the generation we're talking about. I mean, you could see Young Thug's impact. You could see Future's impact in certain artists that come right after them. And I think that when we're talking about rating the impact with Kendrick, obviously people loved his music. It was probably trying to rhyme like him, but we just haven't seen the people who've come from his lineage yet. You see Lil Wayne's impact. you see people looking like Wayne, sounding like him, and recording like him as well.
Right, Mike. That's what I'm trying to say is that like people have to understand it's actually his skill level and his body of work that has him rated so high. When you gauge his impact, when you put him next to Jay impact wise, it's like no, Nas, no, Rakim, no, Scarface, no, Ice Cube, Mike, no, and a lot of that, and this is what I mean, a lot of that is because those guys were trendsetters and started something. I don't know necessarily what he started that's carried itself. And maybe over a course of time, Mike, this is why I hate impact. Because, Mike, over a course of time, maybe we'll see.
Because, and to that point, KJ Finesse said, literally changed the way I listen to music. And you know what? For me, Akuma and I changed the way I listen to music. And that wasn't an impactful album right away. But we saw like 10 to 15 years later, people start trying to make efforts like it, And so, like you said, you can't really see impact all the time right away, but it's obviously there. And, it's tough to quantify sometimes. But it's very important because...
Hey, Mike, you want to know what? I'm going to tell you when I realized, like, impact and why I didn't like it. When, the Purple Tape and Liquid Swords came out the same year.
Right.
I actually was more of a Jizza fan. You know what I mean? I've always like leaned on the lyricist. And when I first listened to Liquid Swords, I found it to be a very comparable effort to Only Built for Cuban Links. And it's the only Wu-Tang release that I felt like was great enough to follow up that release.
We're going to answer your question, Janal. I'm sorry, Gerald Clark.
I say to say, Mike, when I went and told my dudes that I on West Boulevard, when we was coming, no, they wasn't hearing that shit because Ray and Ghost had the streets. The impact of it was just hit it. By the time Liquid Swords came out, the impact of it had already groundswells. Cats wasn't even trying to hear that, Mike. And that's when I realized how much impact can change how things get weighed and take something right here, leave something right, and that's just one of those things. And so I don't know if Kendrick has really made, how has To Pimp a Butterfly impacted this culture if it's a seminal piece of work? Is it as impactful as Illmatic, Aquemini, Only Built for Cuban, Reasonable Doubt, Ready to Die?
But you're naming stuff from a whole different era. Let's just say things in recent
I'm saying,
time.
Is it as impactful for its era? Is it as impactful as those records? Because where are we seeing it?
Can we say My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Because that was closer to the release of that, and so it's easier to quantify. The game was similar
Mike,
state.
How about this? I think Good Kid, Mad City is better than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies had more impact.
Jock J says, when's the last time y'all heard something new that made you lose your fucking mind? There was a lot last year. I would say Pray for Paris. I would say From a King to a God.
Alfredo. I had 3 albums last year that made me feel that way.
So I love Alfredo. The Busta Rhymes album,
the Nas album, the Locks album. Don't be surprised.
The Nas album was a real sleeper, for real. Janelle Clark says, when's the last time Jay-Z had a song that slapped? But you know what? I'm going to say The Ghost of Soulja Slim. Yeah, The Ghost of Soulja Slim.
Last year. Ghost of Soulja Slim last year.
Yeah, that was just last year. And,
that shit slapped.
And that was one of the records I was going to say. Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, shit, they're going in.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh.
So, yeah. It is what it is.
Hey, I know we got to get out of here soon. Can we talk about the whole Ray thing? Because I have something to submit to you because I did a little digging the other day, Mike, and I hate to do this because I love him like you do, Mike. Ghost is at number 5 for both of us. I think, didn't both of us have Ghost at number 5?
I think let's go back to our list. I had Ghost you had Ghost at 6. I had Ghost at 7. I was trying to be as objective as possible.
Right. So here's what I'll say to you objectively, and here's why I had Raekwon at number 9, Mike. It's so hard to separate them. Mike, in Ghostface's catalog, he has 30 Raekwon guest appearances in his solo catalog. That's a lot of help from another legendary MC that no other MC on this list has that kind of help from another guy that great. And that's why I had Raekwon so high. People always look at how important Ghost is to the Purple Tape. I think people are missing how important Ray's been to Ghost Project. Ghost is the only all-time great MC that has another all-time great MC helping him in his all-time greatest catalog case.
I have 2 words for you. I have 2 words for you.
Go ahead.
Supreme Clientele.
Mike, and that's fine. And that's fine. But that's why I have Ghost at 5 and Ray at 9, because if you want to weigh it out, he did better by himself on his classic, which is Supreme Clientele is better than Cuban Link 2, right?
Oh yeah. I think Supreme
Right.
Clientele is better than Iron Man too.
I mean, okay, you can say that if you want, but Iron Man is still a classic, right?
Iron Man is a classic.
Ray is on 13 tracks on Iron Man, Mike. He's on Iron Man the way Ghost is on Only Built for Cuban Links. But here's what I'm trying to tell you.
Honestly, Ray is a better rapper than Ghost on Iron Man.
Yes, that's Mike. That's exactly what I was about to say, Mike. He's a better rapper on the Purple Tape too.
But I think even when when Wu-Tang Forever came, yeah, he's a better rapper than him on the Purple Tape too. But when Wu-Tang Forever came and Ghost actually hit that stride, there was no coming back from it. It was clear who the better rapper was.
When he hit his stride, he went into like that Nas big, he went into that next stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm telling you is Ray is one of those guys that's he's right there, Mike. Like, it don't work without the both of them. And I'm telling you this for a fact. Say whatever you want, Mike. Apollo, Supreme Clientele ain't the same without Apollo Kids, and it's not. Iron Man's definitely not the same. Like, Fish Scale, Mike. Ray and Ghost United, Nightly Brothers, Killah, the records are important on Fish Scale. He's helped Ghost out a lot.
He
got 5 tracks. Mike, Ray got 5 tracks on Bulletproof Wallets. Mike, you like Bulletproof Wallets more than Fish Scale. Ain't no other top 10 MC has had that much help from another great MC. That's why I had Ray up there, because they've kind of helped each other more than you're realizing.
I think we're talking about the eye test again, man. And for me, I just feel like even on a lot of those records where, after Iron Man, Ghost is just the superior MC. I mean, we talking about Tycho, Nightglow, Velvet Pose, special effects, high-tech armors,
working with the show. The Supreme Clientele. I mean, first of all, Mike, you need to accept the fact that Supreme Clientele got made 20 years ago, too.
I will accept that. And that's why I actually had him lower than you did.
No, that's Ghostface Killah, Mike. I don't play those type of games.
I had him lower than you did.
No, Ray and Ghost are top 10 MCs if we're talking living. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, their impact, their catalog, the body of work, the work they've done together. In Raekwon's case, the contributions he's made to other people's projects too.
And you know what? That's totally legit. Let's finish talking about this. But I want to let people know we're going to talk about this T.I. and Lil Wayne thing too, because people are asking about that because we got T.I. over Lil Wayne. But yeah. I mean, it just feels like catalog-wise, in his important works, Ray has just had much more help than Ghost has in his important works. And I will give you this,
which is why
I'm leaning towards Supreme Clientele. Supreme Clientele and Wu-Tang Forever are really tainting me, because, I mean, can you point to a Raekwon verse that's anything like Ghost's verse on Impossible?
No, Mike, that's one of my personal favorite rap verses ever. That is when I saw Ghost level up, was actually that verse, and take it to the next transfer. Mike, Ray thinks that Ghost is the GOAT. Every time he posts something about kinfolk, he throw the GOAT sign up.
He does.
So even in Ray's heart, he's like, I'm rhyming next to the best MC who ever did it. But what I'm telling you, Mike, is that for as good as they sound together, for as great as Ghost is, Mike, when you listen to Ray and Ghost rap next to each other, there is no drop off that you hear. And so Ghost is 5, Ray's not far behind, and that's why I had him at 9, because he's got the impact. He's actually got more impact than Ghost, Mike. He doesn't have the catalog, but he's got a great body of work. And he's actually a better lyricist bar for bar than Ghost. He deserves to be right there somewhere in the stratosphere where Ghost is. How you gonna have Mike? Ain't no peanut butter without my jelly, man.
I think I disagree on the impact. That's closer.
Mike, the Purple Tape says Chef Raekwon featuring Tony Starks. He's not made anything as impactful. He's the guest. Mike, I'm Scottie Pippen on this podcast, which is exactly what the fuck Ghostface Killah is on the Purple Tape. He's Scottie Pippen.
You're not Scottie Pippen on this podcast. But no, man.
Mike, I feel like Scottie, 93 All-Star game, Mike MVP and all that.
Let me play devil's advocate here. If we talking about going back and forth and not seeing any skill difference, and we talking about comparable catalogs, how is Jadakiss where he is on our list and Styles ain't on the list at all? Because when they rhyming back and forth, they sound like the same motherfucker.
My original list had Styles and Beanie Siegel tied at 25, and my main reason for putting Styles on the list was like I got Kiss too high to not have Styles right there next to him.
Styles has a
And
better
even
catalog than Kiss too.
And Mike, listen to me when I say this, and I love Kiss and Styles. They not Ray and Ghost. Period.
As individuals,
they don't have Mike. They don't have the catalog. Mike, they don't have the catalog.
Listen,
they don't have the classic albums. They don't have the classic group album work.
Listen,
they not Ray and Ghost.
I agree with you.
Ray and Ghost.
And Jock J says that we should have Styles in there over Conway. But you know what? I agree with you on the fact that as individuals, Ghost and Ray are better than Styles and Jada. But when we talk about who sounds better in a back and forth, I don't think there's anybody in hip hop that sounds better back and forth than Jada and Styles. I don't think so. And I know we've talked about this before. The MGM is what you're probably going to bring up, you know. But Styles and Jada back and forth, shit's crazy, man. They sound like one person.
Mike, there's nothing on record like the MGM. It was like they wrote the fucking... No, Mike. Up in the MGM, coked up, psych. 6 niggas walked in, flashing they gems, peace side. No, Mike, stop that. They was no, because when Jada and Kiss do it, they like extend it out to make it fit. Ray and Ghost be like basket weaving with each other, Mike. It be happening fast. It be fluid. It be something different, Mike. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like Ray and Ghost
finish each other's sentences,
including
man.
Styles and Kiss. Including Styles and Kiss, Mike. They're not a better back and forth. Ray and Ghost is not a better combo than they're no.
Jock J says I'm about to listen to the MGM right now.
Up in the MGM.
We got somebody that says too much.
Rematch schedule on October 9th. Yeah.
Somebody said too much East Coast talk. You know what? That sends us into our next part of it.
Let's talk about Tip and Wayne so we can depart.
Let's talk about this T.I. and Wayne. We got T.I. ahead of Lil Wayne. Now, I have my reasons, and I actually had
really biased.
On my list, I had T.I. at 20 and I had Wayne at 21. On your list, you had T.I. at 15 and Wayne at 21. So you think that T.I. is much better than Wayne. I'll give my reasons, but why do you got T.I. over Wayne?
I mean, Mike, 15 to 21 to me isn't much better. Just like 5 to 9 from Ghost to Ray isn't. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's a big gap. I'm just saying I think Tip has a better body of work. He does not have the. And when I say body of work, I mean quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like quantity-wise, Wayne got. We're not even gonna go there with that. But I feel like T.I.'s projects are better. I find him to be slightly more versatile as an MC, as a songwriter, delivery-wise, conceptualization-wise. Like, does Lil Wayne do stuff like Live in the Sky? Like, can he? You know what I mean?
Right. I was gonna go there too.
A songwriter, Mike. Like, he's a lyricist. He's a dope boy and a gangster, but he's also a songwriter, Mike. He's a songwriter.
I think he's a songwriter first, but that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. But I
think he's a lyricist first, actually, Mike.
He's a very talented songwriter.
When I hear Tip rhyme, yes.
Yeah, he's a very talented songwriter. This is the thing, because Lil Wayne has songs like Receipt, right? And I think what people hold Wayne high for is when he just spazzes out on the record. Now, his impact, T.I. doesn't even come close to that. I think that impact-wise, Wayne is probably one of the most impactful ever. But I'm with you as far as like, and that kind of taps into skill and body of work. I think that as a songwriter, T.I. just touches on more, fluidly than Wayne does. Wayne will go off on tangents and try to really hit you with some of these punchlines, which are hit or miss sometimes. You'll end up with what did he say? He's like, Weezy F Baby, and the F is for phenomenal. You have moments like that where you don't really get that with T.I. because T.I. is really just telling you his story. He has songs like I'm Just Doing My Job. He has songs for the ladies that, I want to be your man and shit like that. You know what I mean? And it's real fluid and it's more personal too. I feel like T.I. is more personal and more effortless with it.
I Effortless is a good way to describe it. It's more effortless. King and the Carter 2 came out around the same time. I remember I was in Cali. I had both of those albums in B. I remember those were the 3 albums I played most that year, I believe. I think that's 05.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember the Talking to You record, track 4? Just Blaze did?
Yeah.
Okay, so
sounds like he was talking to Wayne too, by the way.
Mike, I thought he was, maybe. But here's why I bring this up. If you put Wayne on that track, Wayne might just spaz out for 48 to 84 bars and not give you a composed song in the framework of a head nodder like that. And that's what I mean about Tip being a songwriter. Like, Wayne will hear that beat and just go in and spaz out, and you'll love the record. T.I. will go in and make a whole song out of it, and you'll love the record.
You know what else?
He'll do a hook to it.
Now that you've mentioned that.
He'll give you some dazzling mic performance stuff in addition to that. So he's going to give you some of what Wayne gives you, and he's going to give you that full song feel. And that's why I had him at 15 and Wayne at 20.
Now that you mentioned that, and I didn't even think about this in my thought process of it, what T.I. has also given us that Wayne hasn't given us at all is the battle. He took out Flip. He took out, Shawty Low with What's Up, What's Happening. I mean, damn, the whole Down with the King mixtape was lethal, man. Like, the song that he had with Lil Third on 106 & Park, I can see the hate in your heart.
Like, Tip ain't scared of no battle. Tip ain't scared of no battle.
On 106 & Park, I can see the hate in your heart. On the squad, when I see you, I'm going to tear you apart. Wayne ran from battles. Let's just be honest. Pusha T has poked Wayne for 10 plus years. Wayne ran.
I keep telling you. Like, Mike, I kept telling everybody when that was starting, when Wayne was big, I'm like, Wayne don't want those type of problems. He's not that type of MC. Pusha's vicious.
Yeah.
Mike, that's part of the reason why Pusha's up there at 17. He vicious, Mike.
And Drake shouldn't have jumped in that because we saw what happened, and Wayne knew that would happen.
I'm about to say, and what happened when one of them got too big and thought that they could talk roasted quickly. Yeah. To quote T.I., expeditiously.
Yeah. KG Finesse said, that's the only flaw, bro. I completely agree. Rap is about the battle. And yes, Wayne has never proven to us that he deserved that crown in a battle since. Now, I will give T.I. that over him. T.I. never ran from that. And even with that Ludacris situation where I feel like he kind of got, he got sideswiped with that Young Buck record. But even with that coup, I feel like T.I.'s verse is better than Luda's. And it's clear that Luda heard his verse and went in after.
And that's why, Mike, because the verses are comparable, except for you got to hear his shit. That means you lost.
Because at the end of the day, that one line, that me getting beat down, that's Ludacris. That's the best line on the whole song. It is.
Mike, speaking of which, on Talking to You, he addressed that situation too. Like, Tip ain't scared of nothing. Like that. How about this?
He's
Mike,
a complete artist, and he'll get on blurred lines. He can get on a record like Blurred Lines and just mesh right in.
Mike, listen to what I'm about to say. He's probably the most complete MC to ever come out of the South. Not the best, but the most complete.
I agree 100%. I mean,
he's more complete than Scarface. He's more complete than Andre. He's more complete than Wayne.
I agree.
That's all about Southern niggas.
Jock J says T.I. is better than Wayne, hands down. Like I said, I think Wayne got him on the impact. And if we talking about just getting on the record and spazzing out for 48 bars, but like you said, completeness. Like, T.I. has that control. And, really, he doesn't get a lot of recognition for getting the whole Gangsta Grill shit started, because Down with the King is what got Cannon started, and he doesn't get that credit, but that's fine. It's what it is. I think trap music, the album, I feel I have my opinions about, I guess, that impact, but whatever you feel about it, people took that term and created a subgenre with it. That's his impact right there.
How about this too, Mike? He's made he's one of the few guys that you can say has made 4 good to great projects. He has trap music, King, Paper Trail,
Urban Legend.
Hold on. an urban legend. Like not too many guys. So when he was talking that last year, talking about, oh no, I'm up there with Kanye and Jay and them. Like I don't know if he's right there, but he would probably be the next guy, body of work wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not wrong for saying that.
No, one thing I will say about
Tip talk about, like, no, he's not crazy for saying that. He got a great catalog.
One thing I will say about Tip and Wayne before we get out of here, I don't know how well their material is gonna age. I mean, you know, we're kind of in that area now. Like we don't really hear a lot of those records like that. So
that. I mean, it's kind of funny. We're in Atlanta, Mike. You just gonna be on. You gonna hear a mix of T.I. just some, you know, like. But I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't know how well their material is gonna age, but I think that T.I.'s had an incredible career, especially coming out saying that he's the king of the South and living up to it to a certain degree. Because I do agree with you. I think he is the most complete MC to ever come out of the South. I think he's more complete than Luda. I think he's more complete than, I don't think he's better than Scarface. Don't beat me up in here. But I think he's more complete than Scarface. I don't think we could hear Scarface get on blurred lines and do what he did.
That's what I mean when I say complete, right?
Yeah.
Scarface ain't going to do, if you call Scarface to do blurred lines, he's going to hang up the phone.
And let's address the elephant in the room too. There's no questionable pen or possible ghostwriting when it comes to T.I. either. And someone said the old Wayne is so different. Yeah, I think a lot of eras of Wayne are extremely different because there's been different writing help, allegedly.
Mike, how many times do we have to say this bar? Tell Hova, don't pass the crown so soon. Unless he got a crown for every writer in the room. It's too many spirits on these ghost-written tunes, so you can't crown an heir till you seance the room.
You cannot.
We need to leave it right there.
All right, well, that's what the list is. We were somewhat just... What's that?
21. That, like, stuff like that is how you end up at 21 and how Pusha T ends up ahead of you, because he's never addressed that either, Mike. Like, people acting like he ever addressed that. Not really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's common knowledge that Gilly wrote for Wayne. You can hear it in the slang. It's Philly slang all up and down through that era when Gilly was on Cash Money. And it could have been one of those situations where people throwing bars around or whatever, but Gilly said he actually wrote for him.
The Carter, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I don't think there's anybody.
When he say I think he said I wrote like 7 or 8 tracks on the Carter.
I don't think there's anybody in hip hop that we could say has had such a drastic change from wobbledy to actually going bar for bar being taken serious as a lyricist. I think that's a pretty drastic change. And I know he was younger and all that, but everybody was young.
The Carter change was the drastic change from, I guess, 500 degrees to the Carter.
Yeah,
from 500 degrees to the Carter, that was something that we had never really seen happen before, and so
it's questionable because 500 degrees was like, oh my niggas, if you with me, we get at stuff like that, and it was like it went from that to what the Carter was, and
he was spitting on the Carter.
He was. Go DJ is a very drastic departure from where he was on The Way of Life and stuff like that.
And I moved like a coupe through traffic. Like he was talking, I was like, who is that?
Right.
Who is that?
Right. Yeah. So, it's generous that we even have him on the list, but his impact is, it's undeniable. But if we're going to talk about skills and pen and all that, there's a lot of questionable stuff out there. And I think that his changes, and the biggest thing for me too, is the fact that you're not even 40 years old and you can't even match what people thought you were at peak lyric-wise. You shouldn't be this far washed where you can't really put words together like that anymore. Like, are you looking for a new writer? I'm not saying that, allegedly, but it looks like that. It looks like that. We see all these people on our list, Coop. Well, most of the people on our list. And we talk about Black Thought, right? Black Thought's damn near 50. He's getting better, sharper. Jay. Jay, Nas. These guys. If you want to put a person with that, dude, you're not even 40 yet. And you can't even match what you were lyrically, Mike, like in your late 20s. What?
Mike, that's why I never had him there, because I had a feeling it was going to kind of go like this. He was never that type of craftsman with the pen to me. T.I. was closer to that guy. That's why when T.I. says, no, I'm up there with them, I'm like, no, I get it. His pen closer to that than anybody down here. Yeah. As far as craftsmanship in the album of works to say so, and not having any questionable pen rumors floating around your name. Yeah, all that 21. That's how you end up with 21 with top 5 impact.
Right, because even T.I. had a drastic change when it came to I'm Serious to trap music, but we never once thought that this is a different writer. You know what I'm saying?
Because he got better. Because he just kept getting better.
Yeah, he just slowed it down.
Sounds better.
He just slowed it down. Yep.
Right, he sounds better. He sounds more comfortable. Right.
So yeah, that's why that is there. I guess. I mean, did we cover all the major things? Maybe we didn't cover why Pusha T is where he is. Some people think that Pusha T is too high at 17.
Check the rhyme. Check the rhyme.
And what about Method Man? Method Man's the top 25. And we talked about Method Man just getting better now. He dropped Limit off.
You want to talk about somebody getting in because their skill is otherworldly. I was figuring more people was going to argue about Meth. Meth is the guy that I look at on this list that people really should be arguing about.
Yeah.
Truthfully. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about having Conway ahead of Method Man.
Pusha T. Method Man needs to make a classic album like Conway has.
I think Method Man still has time for that, as crazy as that sounds.
No, I told Mike, I want to put him in the top 10 so bad, Mike.
No, you've always vouched for Meth. And Method Man was my favorite rapper growing up, but I think he's just never lived up to the hype.
But it's not too late in this generation, Mike. Yeah. Mike, he's one classic album away from being better than, definitely the 10 guys ahead of him. He's better. Mike, he's better than everybody that's ahead of him all the way up to Redman for sure. Yeah.
I just don't know if he has...
Just about his body of work.
It's something that's missing when Method Man makes records by himself. He might be one of the best featured guys ever.
Might be the best feature guy ever.
And he's one of them. Him and Busta Rhymes, they're up there, whatever. But it's like when Method Man is by himself, outside of Bring the Pain and You're All I Need, it feels like something is missing,
Well, maybe time has taught him to put the pieces together, and we'll see. So
yeah, I know we got to go. People are still asking where certain people are. Where's Fabulous? Do you think Fabulous has the impact and body of work?
Next, no. Did y'all see the verses next? No.
Yeah, even Flex said that Jada washed him.
Just real quick, just with Pusha T, so we can wrap it up with this. I don't think people understand. The Clips made 3 great albums. They made Lord Willing, Hell Hath No Fury, Until the Casket Drops. Mm-hmm. He has had some really good albums. Like his first solo album. What was the name of the first one? The one that had the barcode on it. My Name Is My Name. My Name Is My Name is dope as fuck. Mike King Push. And so Daytona was one of those albums where it's because of Daytona, he is officially in that top 20 convo.
I think
he's that body of work.
You know what? This is what I will say about Pusha T. I think
he only struggles on impact. His skills and his body of work is there at this point.
I was gonna say, I think that we got to give Pusha T his flowers in the sense the fact that he's been around so long and probably sounds better than ever. And let's look at the pool of artists that came out around the time that Clips came out originally. And you let me know what they sound like right now. They not making Daytona. They're not.
No, Mike, that's what I'm saying. He's outlasted everybody from his era.
Yeah.
That's part of how he got on this list.
Let's keep it real. We talk about Griselda again. We talk about Freddie Gibbs and what they do. What he's done in recent time has been very impactful to what those guys are doing. That's why he's one of the first people that gets the call.
Right, Mike. Re-up mixtapes are important to the culture of this shit. And people forget There was, I mean, Mike, how about this? Until Griselda, Pusha T was doing East Coast rap better than all of the East Coast guys.
I mean, and he was doing it during I don't want to say a dead period, but it was a gapping period where everybody was looking for the next king. I mean, does anybody tell you that on the record with him and Kendrick, did Kendrick kill him? No.
No, because he didn't.
No.
It's a tie. Because he didn't.
Pusha T is special. And
he's special.
The thing about it, too, is the fact that, dude, your people are Pharrell, Timbaland, and Kanye. This man can make hits whenever he wants to, but he chooses to make street music.
He chooses to make street music.
You think this nigga can't get a hit with those people in his circle all the time?
Like, they can make him a hit, like fall out of the sky. Like, he moves with intended purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. And he chooses to make this music. I mean, the man made the didn't he write the McDonald's I'm Loving It record?
Yeah.
So yeah.
My conscious effort to keep it street.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, man. And we kind of glossed over that, but yeah, Pusha T is that deal, and I hope we answered most of the questions. If not, put some more in the comment section, and we'll touch up on it a little bit next week if we need to. But we'll probably move on to something else next week, man. We got a lot to talk about in the culture. So another episode out. Yes, sir.
I just want to leave all of my down south friends with this, because I'm trolling now. Ghostface is set to drop Supreme Clientele 2 this year, and Raekwon is set to drop Only Built for Cuban Links 3 this year. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. Great hip hop's great hip hop.
Great hip hop's great hip hop, but I will say this too. Before we get out, I think the South is more of a collective effort a lot of times. There's a lot of groups in the South. There's not a lot of individuals in the South like it is up north. And so when we're highlighting individuals, it kind of gets heavy like that. If we were talking groups, probably be a little different thing. So,
Mike,
it is what it is.
Do you know, Mike, we gave Lil Baby a ton of run on this show last year.
Of course.
Like, run that he deserved.
Yeah.
Run that he deserved.
All right. We're going to holler at y'all, man. Y'all have a great evening.
All right. Easy, fam.